Welcome to Introduction to Business Online, offered by Harper College. My name is Dr. George Mochocki. This week we'll be covering Chapter 4 in Ethics and Chapter 5 on Formation of Different Business Structures. Before I go forward, I'm just going to do a little quick housekeeping review, talk about what happened, what you did well, and what areas you still need to be improving on last week's homework assignment. The Learn Smart Connect, we all mastered that. Everyone who was in on the Learn Smart received your 20 points, which equated to an A, so you did very well. It's just a different aspect of the Connect. This week you'll have a regular Connect and a Learn Smart when you read the overview. Chapter 4 will be a regular Connect, and Chapter 5 will be the Learn Smart. Each will be worth 10 points. Whereas those of you who have not done any of that Connect now, you might as well start getting it because you're falling behind. Already we have 50 points have already been distributed just for the Connect and the Learn Smart, and this is in week 2. Okay, now somebody asked me for the students' PowerPoints. The publisher, the way they set up the PowerPoints is through Connect, and some students are having a little difficulty going and finding them in the library or the ebook, e-portion of Connect that they have when they go back to the main menu. So what I've done, I've loaded all the students' PowerPoints, 20 chapters, and the bonus chapters in Blackboard. You'll say students' PowerPoint. When you're reading a chapter for the first time, print out the PowerPoint. Don't print out each slide. Do like 3 slides to 1 page with the notes, and you can see that when it says it gives you print options. Also, print out my conceptual maps. You have the conceptual maps basically identifies the keywords and the key concepts out of the whole chapter, and you see a quick overview of everything you have to cover. You have these 2 components. Read it, take your notes, add to it. Then you do the Connect homework assignment or the Learn Smart homework assignment, and this now it just reinforces everything you've read with the PowerPoints, with the concept maps, and you're all set. After you've done that and communicated with some of the questions that we will have in the forum this week, one forum only, now you'll be able to take the quiz and score the 20 points. Remember, each quiz is for each chapter is worth 10 points. I do not scramble the chapters, so your first, if it, like this week you have chapter 4, you have 10 questions. Answer those. The next 10 questions following chapter 4 will be chapter 5, and you'll have it all done. And that's basically for the week. Let's see, forums, Blackboard. When you're starting posting now, remember this is a college level, and part of the forums is it's not like a Twitter or a social network. You just start writing in a professional manner. Try to start utilizing some of the concepts and business vocabulary you're reading. This is how you improve on your business communication, which is very important moving forward within the organization. So what do we have this week? Before I go into the homework, what do we have? We'll have you have my quick review. You read the 2 chapters. You have one you have one Connect on chapter 4. It's worth 10 points. It's a video. Remember, it's on ethics and social responsibility. You have one Learn Smart on chapter forming of different businesses. I set it for about 35 minutes. So if you answer all the questions, you should complete it within the 35-minute time point, and that's worth 10 points. You have the one quiz at the end worth 20 points covering both chapters. This week you're going to have an assessment in corporate preferences. I'm adding a little bit different because you can start having some kind of assessments that you'll be assessed. It's like a software asking you, like a survey, like if you'd be to find out your preferences. So before you do the forms, at the bottom there's a link that says corporate preferences. Click on the link, answer the 13 questions, 12 or 13 questions, submit it, and then what you'll basically come out of there, you'll have a report, and you'll come across to say that your corporate preference scale, you're either moderate, low to moderate, strong, and you'll have a number, 6 out of so much, and basically post that in there. And what you're going to do, so you'll print that out, you have that information, then you're going to go log into the forum, and in the forum what you're going to do is You're going to give me some feedback. First of all, do you agree with the you're going to in the form, the subject? Here's my score. I have a moderate liking for a corporate structure, and that's something I would like to work in a corporation, or very low corporate structure, which is an indication that you like to work in a smaller office or more of an independent office. Remember, there's a lot of businesses that aren't corporations, huge. There's smaller, which you'll find on Chapter 5, Chapter S corporations, limited partnership corporation. So, I mean, limited partnership. So you'll have a different kind of agreements, different kind of structure. It may not be always the corporate. So after you do that, give me some feedback. Now, what I want you to respond, are you working in this kind of a structure now in a corporation? If not, do you have any idea how corporations are ran, or what are the advantages or disadvantages, other than what the book talks about? Your parents or your friends may be working in a corporation, or you may be working in a corporation. Okay, after you look at that, then respond to me saying, hey, I don't think I like the corporation for this reason, but I think if I had an option to work someplace, if I was to open up a business, or if I'm looking for my next job, I would rather work in the limited partnership, or I'd rather work for like a small or sole proprietor or a partner. So, and provide why you'd like to work in that type of a structure. All right. So, and there's a few other questions you go on there. So you should be all right. Look at the overview that you print out that talks about the general online rules that we should know about this. Now, when you look into posting, some people are concerned. They do their first post, and out of 20, I may give you 5. And oh my goodness, I'm only have a 5. Remember, I change your forum grades as you go forward. If your first post isn't by Tuesday midnight, you will have a 0 or showing an F. In most cases going forward, if you don't provide my first post by Tuesday midnight, you can do it Monday, but it has to be by Tuesday midnight, you'll never get the full points for the forum. You'll get an A minus, even if you do all the posts. Because part of the whole thing is, here's the process, here's what's required. When I was in the corporate world, I had to respond to customers within 24 hours after they emailed me. This is no different. Get used to, work out a schedule. You'll find out at the end of this course, a lot of students will say, hey, the time management, it was a pain. It was a little bit, I had to log in 3 times, but it made my life easier. Things worked out better. Okay, so you have that, some reinforcements. So your points will always change. Your last forum should be Friday midnight. I've provided you to at least a Saturday noon as a last resort. I don't want to keep on seeing you always Saturday noon. Then you only get a B or a C out of the forum. Remember, the forums are worth 30% of your total grade. And it's not only the forums, how many posts you put in, it's what kind of substance you provide. If you go, hey, and I don't want to hear anymore, hey, how you doing, George? Remember, this is a business profession. George, I understand this. Start writing it as you will be writing it in a corporation or a business setting to your colleagues, to your peers, or to your customers. You'd never tell a customer, hey, sir, this is what it's going to be, what we're going to take care of. It's always Mr. or George. And this thing's, we're a team, so you use the person's first name. Plus, it makes it easier to follow. Okay, so this is a virtual learning. You're doing well. The forums replace a lecture. Okay, so now what do we have? So you've got the Connect, you've got the discussion board, you've got the forums. We're all set. Now, let's go into the subject matter. This week we're going to talk about Chapter 4. I printed out the concept maps, and it just gives you a general idea about the whole chapter. Plus, with the PowerPoint, you have a real good idea of what's going on. So, when I look at factors of ethics, I feel I'm an ethical person, but I'm looking at my standards versus the standards that, or my peer pressure that says, George, you're ethical. Corporations may have a whole completely different ethical level or acceptance. So make sure. So how do I learn my ethics? I learn it by individuals. I learn it by the companies I worked with. What kind of ethics? I learn it by the environment. That means where I live at, my peer pressures. All this affects my ethics. So what happens, a lot of companies will have a code of ethics. And the code of ethics basically is explaining to its workers, its customers, all its stakeholders, what is an ethical, what if you deal with GAM Consulting or GAM Hot Dog, this is what our ethical values. All of our employees will have this ethical value. Now, make sure you know the difference between integrity and compliance, and how do I improve business ethics? This whole listing on that. How do I prevent unethical behaviors? Very interesting. What causes workers to be unethical? Remember, when you're taking this course, I want you to put away. This is not a consumer class. I want you to start thinking, because I'm addressing you as if you were business people working for me, managers working underneath me within a corporation or a business or whatever structure. You're no longer individuals. You're a business owner. You are a business owner. You start looking at it from a business perspective, not from a consumer perspective. Okay, after you have all the ethics, the other things that this chapter talks about social responsibility. What are social responsibilities? That's above, the philanthropy. That's another word for charity. Because remember, philanthropy in a business, I may give for a charitable cause because I feel good, but I'm a corporation. Not only do I feel good, it's a tax write-off. It also helps me when I do my marketing campaign. It makes customers feel want to do business with me because they say, look, he's helping within the community. We're buying from him, so he's within the community, your business within the community, and I'm giving back to the community. Look about, they talk about international ethics, a little bit different. We're more of a global, more businesses are working global, from small to large. Basically, you may be locally, but you'll get your supplies overseas, or you may find another market you may sell overseas. That's the advantage of the internet and everything else with the global. If I can't sell it here, I can sell in another country, and it works well. It works out well for all parties. Okay, so we have that. Green greed. Think what green greed is. Social environment, responsibilities as employees. Look at President Kennedy's basic consumer rights. As a business, I have to treat the consumer not only fairly, but what the law says I have to give them a minimum. Most businesses will give you more and above than what the law is. But because of the economic conditions, some businesses will give you basically, here's what's required by the law, and that's all you're going to get. All right, now that's chapter 4. Now, chapter 5, we're going to be talking about forms of business. Now, the reason now chapter 5, you're going to be doing a learn smart on forms of business. You're going to look at partnership, sole proprietorship. That's the easiest. That means I just open a business now. I don't need any contracts. I'm open to business. It's the easiest to get into, that and partnership, because you don't need a contract per se. But sole proprietorship, the thing is the liability. You're taxed as an individual income. So if your business goes under and you can't sustain or pay off the debt that the business occurred, you have unlimited liability. It means you go after your home and everything else. One way to offset this unlimited liability is a form of partnership. Now, partnership, again, you could get the form of partnership. You don't have to have a legal document. What the book recommends, what I recommend, what everybody recommends. If you're going to have a partnership, make sure you have a written document. It doesn't have to be by a lawyer. If the partnership has to dissolve, what are the rules? If just like in a marriage, the two of us get into a fight, if we're married, who's going to resolve it? You send an agreement says if the partnership can't agree on a course of action, we'll go to a third party, either an arbitrator or a lawyer or somebody that we both agree on and resolve. The same thing, we've got to dissolve the partnership. How do we dissolve it? We have to say, if I provide all the money, but I don't have the time to be there, I'm providing the finances, what kind of partner am I? And if you're the one doing all the work, do we split the profit 50-50? Do we split it 60-40? No different than if you would have a partnership or a marriage. How do you split the workload? The important part of this is, if you are to dissolve the partnership and if there is no written agreement, it goes into legal action. It makes the things a lot messier. Okay, it's easy to get into a partnership. It's hard to get out of the partnership. Same with a marriage. It's easy to get married, say I do, and you get married, have to take the blood test and everything else. But then when it goes to the divorce process to dissolve who owns what, that's where the frustrations come in, the stress comes in, the anger level. But if you had a written agreement, if we do get a divorce, here's how we're going to split up the thing, makes it a lot easier for all parties. Okay, make sure you understand what a limited partner is, what a general partner is. Uniform Partnership Act, it basically identifies if the company is going to be dissolved, what makes a general partner, what makes a limited partner. There's certain three things that the law by the General Partnership Act states that this will make you a general partner. Even though if you're thinking you are a limited partner, if you do these three things within the process of the business, you will be automatically upgraded to general partner, whether you liked it or not. Okay, now what are corporations? A regular word for corporation. C corporation, what an advantage, a disadvantage corporation. What is a corporation? General, some general, you have private corporation, public corporation. What is a Chapter S corporation? What are limited liability companies? They basically, what are the advantages, disadvantages? Remember, they're like a corporation per se for the unlimited liability or limited liability things. They have different, they're taxed as a general partnership, or they could be taxed as a corporation. So it has some advantages. You don't have to do all the paperwork, all the filing as you would as a regular corporation, but it has some limitation. Okay, what are acquisitions? The different types of mergers, vertical, horizontal, merger. What are franchises? Franchises are different. Make sure you know what a corporate franchise is, and make sure you know what a franchise, what a franchisee. So a franchisor is the person who has the idea and who you pay royalty. Franchisor. Another one is employer. Franchisee is employee. Now remember, in a franchisee could be a corporation, partnership, whatever it is, but he or she or that organization or that corporation had to pay royalty to the franchisor or the main corporation. They talks a little bit about home-based franchising, self-motivation, talks about the home-based businesses, global franchising, and what are cooperative. So basically, that's our week this week. We have two chapters, chapter 5 in ethics, chapter 4 in ethics, chapter 5 on different forms of businesses. And you have to understand the different forms of businesses because it depends on the liability aspect and the rest. You know, if I'm a corporation, I can make more, I can sell more stock, I can bring more revenue in, I control my liability. It opens me up a little bit more. So you're doing well. Make sure you do your connect. Make sure you remember the first week to log in. You already listened to this video. Listen it through all the way. You only have one forum this week. It's going to be on your corporate preferences, or maybe not your corporate preferences, but then also to talk about the different forms of businesses, why you will like it or why you don't like it. And part of the forums for get you to write better, utilize the vocabulary, and also to start defending a stand one way or the other and do it in a professional manner. So you have that, you have the connect, remember One Learn Smart is on chapter 5 for the forming of business, and then you have a regular connect also worth 10 points, and I broke them up separately on chapter 4, ethics and social responsibility. It's a real nice video on on cell phones for, service people. You have your quizzes and in your forums, and you should be all done. Remember, the forums, the quizzes, everything has to be done by Friday. The forums have to be by Friday, the latest. The connect have to be done by Saturday midnight, or they turn off. Once they're gone, there's no coming back. So don't wait till the last minute. We'll do all this stuff at the end. You should be doing the connect at the beginning after you read the chapters to get it out of the way, and then the quizzes should be the last thing you're doing, and you should do well. And then the forum. So again, this is Introduction to Business Management 111 online. My name is Dr. George Mochocki, offered by Harper College, and we're utilizing Blackboard course system and Connect Learn Smart by McGraw-Hill integrated software to help enhance and your learning, and also make this a very interactive virtual online, similar to what you would be exposed to in a business situation. Have a nice week, and I'll see you within the forums. Bye.